So you're coming off the pitch and you're coming to this role, and what the fans really want to know is what this process has been like for you. It's very unique, and I think you're one of the few people that has ever really gone through it.
Maybe in the MLS, but in Europe and around the world it happens quite a bit. I could say in a coaching sense I've been doing it for a long time now, for several years. I just love it. It's where my head's been for a few years now, and you kind of know when you probably you love everything about football, but when the playing side playing I didn't really enjoy as much more than coaching it, and when that was happening I knew it was time.
When I was at the player combine in the Super Draft, Fran O'Leary had a phone fixed to his head pretty much the entire time. Anytime I asked him a question, sorry, Nelly's on the other line. What were you talking about the entire day, and how much of a phone bill did you rack up?
Yeah, big one actually. It's non-stop talking about potential players, discussing what other clubs want and all that. It's just toing and throwing the whole time. The two players we had eyed them up a long time ago, and we really wanted them. We really wanted Canadian players. This is a Canadian club, and we needed that identity, and it would have hurt me and all of the guys bad if we ended up seeing those guys on an opposition against us, and we didn't want that to happen. We wanted them, but we also wanted more as well, and that was a risk we were kind of taking with the allocation money, and in the end it was done brilliantly by all the coaches and Kevin.
Ryan, you mentioned a key word there, and I know from a coach's point of view was identity. When you're on the pitch as a player, you know what your own identity is. You know what your strengths and weaknesses are, and you, in your own mind, certainly a mature player, you accept a role under a coach's guidance, and you do your best to accomplish it to make not only yourself better, but your teammates around you better. That being said, what's your mindset towards what kind of identity you want to instill on this group, which is a brand new group of guys to you?
Yeah, exactly. I think the whole club. This is not just the players. It's the coaching staff. It's the management. It's the caretakers. Everything. The boot guys. The cleaners. Everybody involved with Toronto, and that needs to be set through the whole organisation. And once you have that, it starts a foundation, and then you can start building things on top of that. And that's the thing that we're working a lot on with Kevin and with everybody on having something that you fall back to when times are tough, or even the good times. You always fall back on a DNA, a fingerprint of who you are. Yeah. And we're working on that at the moment.
So I mean, we get a sense of what you're like as a player from having watched you play, but as a coach, as you said, your head's already been in this kind of mind frame for a while when it comes to coaching, and you're knowing that would be your next step, or hoping it would be. So again, if we were to characterize what kind of club it is you want to mold, is it a feisty club? Is it a smart club? Is it more than one word here that you're trying to make sure, Ryan, that this team is known for?
Look, it's all of the above. This team has to be adaptable. They have to grind out results. They have to play with style and panache. We have to. There's no one thing that you want to say that we are. But in saying that, when if things ever go wrong or ever go right, they need to have a system, a structure that they can fall back on. And so what we do as coaches and as a management, we make sure that when they cross the white line, there is no box that hasn't been ticked. They know everything about what they're meant to do in an organisational way, a fitness way, a physical, mental. There's no excuses. So when they go over the white line, it's all on them. It's all on the players. So they can't fall back on anything. They can't make any excuses for anything. And that's our job. And as I said, it sounds easy, but it takes a lot to it, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of work. And winning's hard. It's hard work to win games, and the players have got to understand that.
That's the second slogan I already want to say. I'm not a player, but winning is hard. Another one good over the door. Just to remind guys, you don't just show up. Winning is hard. See?
Absolutely. Now, you've been here for a couple of days, and you've had your first chance to look at the players as they've returned to training camp. What's your first impression so far?
I thought the players are fantastic. Their work ethic was great. They're wanting to learn, which is a big thing. They have to be wanting to learn. Fantastic attitudes, and been really impressed.
And you touched on the allocation money that was acquired at the Super Draft earlier. Could you give the fans a bit of a hint as to what you're looking for, perhaps either positionally or players from a certain area?
Look, I don't like to talk about players that are, in other clubs and all that. It's a bit disrespectful, but all I can say is that, we know we need to improve. We are looking at players of extremely good quality that will make this team a lot better. Until they walk in this training ground, then we can start talking about them. But all I can say is that we're working non-stop all the time to make this team better in a player recruitment.
How much of an opportunity, as Asif says, he would know better than I, that you've been around here for a couple of days now, you've had a chance to kind of, not exactly settle in, but certainly not jet in and jet out every other day. Have you had a chance to speak with Torsten a little bit? Anybody else? Eric and some of the other key players? Danny, of course, those are the big guys up front. I see Darren O'D is here as well. Maybe who have you had a chance to talk to? And I know, just mentioning those four names, there'll be some players you lean on heavily for their leadership on the pitch.
Yeah, no, you're right. I've gone around and spoke to most of the players, and just really impressed with their hunger. I think, if you think the fans are disappointed about what happened last year, the players are even more so. It really hurts them even more, and I think they're desperate to remedy that situation, and so, which is fantastic. They're hungry, they want to learn, they want to win, and that's all what you want in a player.
When you agreed to take this next step in your career and come to Toronto and coach in a league that you are familiar with as a player, what were you looking for aside from the opportunity? Was it tenure? What were you looking for to find the right situation to make this? Because this is a big step for you. I mean, by no means is this going to be your coaching legacy, your first job, but in a perfect world, a coach sticks around for a while and does form a legacy with one franchise, one club. And I assume that's what you would hope to do here. But what did you see specifically with this opportunity that you said yes? Not just the opportunity, but this suits me.
I think the club as a whole, I think everything's been set up in terms of infrastructure, in terms of their owners, fan base, their passion, their intensity. It's what you need in a club, in a successful club. And unfortunately, I think what's happened on the field is kind of hasn't caught up with what's going off it. And that was, for me, it was the biggest challenge is to get the product on the field up to the level that matches the fans and matches the organisation. And that was a really exciting challenge. And eventually, it's just winning. And that's all. When you see what's happened in Toronto the last 6 years, it's a challenge that's just so exciting, and I'll be doing my absolute best to turn that around.
I know you're a coach that will implement a way you want your team to play, but are you also someone who is open to coaching to your players' strengths and might even take you a little bit away from, I really wouldn't want to play this particular setup or this style, but it does seem to suit our guys the best? Is that something too that you keep in mind as a coach so you are able to have success? Yeah,
of course. I mean, you obviously want to play to your players' strengths. That's just
some guys will come in and they have a system and they say, no, it's this way or the highway. So that's what I meant by that.
Yeah, no, I think when you have the ball, you want to play to their strengths, and we've got some fantastic passes of the ball. We've got some good athleticism, and you want to play to those strengths. When you don't have the ball, that's when you can really work on the team, and when you've got 11 bodies in one mind without the ball, we really want to defend to attack. We want to try and score goals when we don't have the ball, and that's a philosophy that I've always had. It's hard work, it's organisation, it's repetition, it's a lot of training on the training field. And as I said, when we have the ball, that's when it's time to get the individual kind of strengths out of the players.
Listen, nice to sit and have this chat with you. There'll be many more throughout the season. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Coach, thank you very much for joining us. We know you're very much in demand, so we'll let you go for now. But we'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
Perfect.
There's a lot of busy days ahead.
I can imagine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.